Hello, welcome to Soulprint Intuitive Tarot for July 9th. So just as an aside, today is a new moon, so this is a great time to set, intentions, get clear on your head what it is you would like to focus on and draw towards you going forward. So just so you know. We are going to take a look at sort of August and what's going to happen when it becomes clear and apparent that there is not going to be a former president reinstated to the White House. This is it, right? These people who want this to happen don't even seem to understand that there isn't like a legal mechanism for it to happen. So you can't just say, because I want, and get it. And always remember, the people who are screaming, I want, are still a minority of the overall population, okay? I mean, Republicans have been so, brainwashed that they just don't. It doesn't matter sort of what Biden does at this point. They just believe that he's in the office illegally. That's not true. And again, as things continue to unfold for Biden, he's going to start gaining strength. He already has in very sort of specific areas. It's just when you kind of do this overall, is he the legitimate president? People kind of go a little wonky. Oh, there's Jerry. Hey, buddy. So I want to take a look at that because I think that things could get a little bit volatile, but I don't expect energetically a replay of January 6th. Okay, I'm just going to pause so I can get the card that dropped. Okay, and so the card that dropped is the Three of Wands. So that in and of itself is kind of interesting, right? Because, looking to the future, trying to find a way out, makes you wonder what is being promoted from overseas. All right. So, I have a question. What's going to happen when the former incompetent president is not reinstated to the White House? Come on down. I have a question. Here we go. How about this? Trump supporters, August. Trump supporters, August. Trump supporters, August. Okay. There are still a good number of them who are wrapped up enough in this fantasy that they really continue to be willing to sort of sacrifice themselves. You would think the fact that we are moving towards, what is it, 600 charges already being laid from January 6th. It's sort of like a lot of those people have smartened up, but not all of them, but a lot of them. But it's the people on the outside who haven't, because they are still in that headspace where they sort of believe that no sacrifice is too big a sacrifice in the name of, their king. And so you're going to see more people who are prepared and willing to make that sacrifice because they simply do not want to look at or acknowledge the truth. Because again, they are so invested in this that in some ways it would really just throw them almost like into this crazy tailspin, because they would no longer sort of feel like they had a purpose or any clarity, or there was nothing that was really like, you know, driving them forward. There was nothing that they could rally around. That was the attraction, right? They felt unheard, they felt marginalized. And so this is their big, we have to get our power back, right? And it's too bad that there's still a lot of people with those kinds of thought patterns. But there are people in your country now who were in your country before during times of rebellion and uprising. And so the pattern repeats and continues. They're going to continue to try to push ahead somehow. You know, remember when the election happened, and then November and December was all about it's going to get overturned, it's going to get overturned. And then January 6th came along and it didn't get overturned, and that created the insurgents. But what replaced that immediately was, Trump's going to descend from some golden plane at the inauguration, and the troops are coming out, and it's going to be a bloody bloodbath. And so this is the thing, is when one date doesn't work, they just morph into a new one, okay? So I don't know when the new one's going to be, but probably they're going to, the next one they're going to be talking about maybe is, by Thanksgiving. He's going to be in the White House. He's going to be pardoning the turkeys. Although, really, he has pardoned a lot of turkeys. He really did do that, but I digress. So there's going to be that kind of crazy, like, oh, it didn't happen now? Oh, okay, well, it's going to happen now or next or then, because that's how they hang on to what they refuse to let go of, because by letting go, they're going to really, really impact, frankly, their own sense of identity, their own purpose, the thing that they now believe, the thing that they hang on to, the thing that gives them a sense of value and importance. This is the thing that's really interesting, sort of, with the people who won't let go, is even when people who were instrumental in leading that insurrection in January, even when they come out and they say, we were conned, he's not standing with us, even when they say, we're the only ones making the sacrifices, those who want to believe, who are not going to let go, will refuse to do any soul searching. They'll refuse to do anything that will sort of bring them towards the light. Are there going to be some? Yeah, there are. But there are still going to remain those who are just determined that they're in a war, they want to fight. They don't know who they're fighting, but anybody who doesn't love, the King of Mar-a-Lago is the enemy. Anybody who doesn't understand that he is the rightful president is the enemy. And so what you have are people who are just still going to defend the nonsense. But I have to say, like, I'm kind of looking, right? And I'm not getting kind of, like violence and crazy. What I'm getting is people digging in, those who don't want to believe or shift or change, sort of digging in, becoming more and more entrenched. There was going to be like another, before, after January 6th, and then there were sort of those people who were like going, like, I'm done, I'm finished. But then there were groups that were sort of specifically targeting the people who were so disappointed but not ready to let go. There's going to be some more of that. So this is what it feels like. It feels like over time, you're going to get the people who continue to carry this torch are going to become more and more entrenched in what they believe. They're going to become smaller, but more radical. And they're going to be more willing to put their assets, whether that's their money, their time, their energy, whatever it is, into this cause. Because no matter how many things don't go the way they want them to, or they expected them to, or they think they should have gone, the reality is they're not going to let go. And so those are the ones that actually you need to be kind of concerned about. And in some crazy way, there's money behind them, there's assets behind them, whether this is sort of being egged on by bad actors from other countries, whether this is in some way being egged on by certain heavy hitters in the Republican Party. But there is that feeling of, we will take what we are not being given. And those who refuse to hear the message are going to fail. They're going to be, that golden goose that they're reaching for, the pot of gold at the rainbow. They're not going to get it, and more of them are like. So it's sort of like I wish I could describe kind of what I'm seeing. It's like a shifting down, right? So you start with this core of people, and as things don't work out, you lose some, and then the ones that are left become tighter. And then the next thing doesn't happen and you lose some, but the ones that are left become more and more entrenched. That's the pattern. And so the more entrenched they become, the more radicalized they become. So you're going to see what it feels like, almost like individual or small group behavior that is exactly sort of honestly what you would expect from people who are so radicalized that they believe that they are completely willing to sacrifice their life, their livelihood, whatever it takes to accomplish this goal. And they're simply not going to be able to accomplish it. And what's going to happen on the sort of other side of the equation is that more and more people are going to start looking at not only kind of what has failed, okay, but they're also going to start looking at what is working in the country now that wasn't working before. And so that is to the Biden Democrat advantage. I also think there actually may be some information that comes out during the House investigations that might be just so, I don't know, scary, startling, disconcerting, that you're also going to have some people really reevaluating. But those that are entrenched, boy, they're not going to listen to nothing except what they want to hear, what they think is in line with their belief structures. But ultimately they lose. So, is there going to be some sort of a big deal, insurrection-like protest? We're going to ask my pendulum. Is that something that is likely to happen? Okay, so pendulum. In the month of August, when there is not a, somebody getting reinstated back into the White House, even though there's no legal mechanism for that to happen, even if it were legitimate, and which of course it's not. But having said that, are there going to be protests? Okay, so yes, there are. Okay. Is there going to be something that takes place in Washington? Some sort of a protest that takes place in Washington? Yes. Is it going to be as big or as violent as January 6th? No. In terms of sheer numbers, is it going to be smaller? Yes. You have national security, you have the FBI, you have all of those other agents with all of those like alphabet letters. They are prepared. Are they prepared for whatever may come down the pike? Yes. And are they being given, or do they have, or will they have, the resources they need to ensure that this thing does not get out of control? Yes. Might there be small individual instances of violent behavior that happen? Yes. Is it enough for people to really, really be frightened or scared of? No. Ultimately, it's the power of the people who stand in the light and send that powerful energy out going to succeed in holding the darker lights, the more negative energy in abeyance. Yes. Okay. So that becomes a bit of a clear message that when you're worried, when you get scared, when things kind of start getting like, you get agitated and concerned, that's the time to pull back and stand in positive energy and positive light. Don't let yourself get sucked into the anxiety and the worry. Disempower it. And you disempower it by flooding it with light and not acknowledging, literally not acknowledging its evil intention or power, because it only has the power you give it. So don't give it any. Okay, so thank you so much for being here. I'm working my way through the comments. It's been a little bit chaotic this week, but I'm getting to them. I hope all of you have a really good weekend. Hopefully you're experiencing good weather and, you're safe. Enjoy the summer. Here in the Northern Hemisphere, it's short, so take the time to enjoy it. Take the time to really appreciate all of the blessings. Until next time, take care. Be well. We'll see you soon.